Danni want to know if Karen gonna keep it, and for whatever reason, Q thinks it's a great idea to pop up at the bank that he actually held Maurice at gunpoint and tried to rob. What's good, y'all? It's your good sis Erica Vane coming to you again with another Sistas video right here on Erica Vane TV, your number one source for Sistas content. And in this video, we are talking about episode 8. This is the preview, the breakdown of the little clip that we got at the end of episode 7. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about it. So this starts off with Karen reiterating that she's pregnant. So I'm assuming that they don't believe her, or there's a little minute of disbelief, and they're like, no girl, you go drink this wine. And she's like, nah, I can't. I told you I'm pregnant. And then Danni says, well, are you going to keep it? And both Andi and Sabrina have whiplash so hard they turn to look at at Danni. And like Danni said, it is a valid question. It is a question that comes up. Maybe these girls as friends haven't talked about their stances on, you know, abortion and all of that. Like, I know, because me and my friends talk about this type of stuff, so I know if so-and-so got pregnant, I know who would keep it, who would probably not, who would struggle with it. Just like my friends know that if it happened to me, there's no option for me. I am 100% keeping it. So I think that this is real. So we're going to definitely see in next week's episode them starting to unpack this. I did an episode 8 synopsis breakdown where I kind of predicted what I felt like would happen. Well, between episode 8 synopsis and what I think the sisters are going to say, I did those 2 videos. So please check those out because they are still very much so valid. I literally said that Danni was going to ask if she gonna keep it, but I definitely think that we're going to have this conversation as they unpack Karen's pregnancy. And then also just looking at the synopsis for episode 8, and Fatima's going to walk in, which we'll get to it towards the end of this, but it's going to be a tough conversation next episode. I'm really excited for it. We're really going to see the sisters take it in, and I think start to wrap their arms around Karen and bring her back into the fold, and maybe start to question how crazy they thought that she had been being over the last week or so when they now have this further context. So that would be interesting to see. But we literally only get that little quick clip until then we get followed up with Maurice being ambushed at the bank. Q is hiding behind some little pillar or whatever because he's out of jail now. Tyler Perry, I promise you we don't need this. I promise you we good. I really do promise you that we do not need this whole Q and Maurice storyline. I'm good on it. It gave all that it needed to give, and then stuff that it didn't need to give. And you continuing it at this point, it's low-key terrorizing me, and I don't appreciate it. I don't think that you are Gary, Tyler Perry, so I think that you need to let up on this Q and Maurice storyline. I don't know where it's going. I don't want it to go anywhere. It's dead in the water. I mean, not for nothing, we do get the comedic moments from Maurice through these interactions, so I do get to laugh a little bit. He's like, who is it? Come out. He was like, it's me. And Maurice is like, I know who me is. Why I'm about to deck you. And it's just like, okay, that part is funny, even though I don't want to be looking at Q. So if we're gonna get it, at least we're gonna get a little comedy along with it. But again, Tyler Perry, we do not want it. And then it goes to Fatima on the elevator. Well, Andi waiting for somebody coming up on the elevator. Fatima coming up. She dressed in all black like an omen. So you really about that life. Woo, we are learning so much about Fatima in season 4, child. Okay. And then we get really quick clips of like Fatima walking, taking in the penthouse, seeing Karen, seeing the girls. Karen motions it over for her to sit down. Actually, let's take a look at it real quick. And they think they slick. They have that little moment where the little sirens go off and it goes to black as if the girl's about to fight, but then it cuts to the scene where ZAC gets arrested because the agent, the little fake agent looking, who said that she wasn't an agent, who seemingly has found the iron and a pressing comb, has now found the duplex and is rolling up on ZAC and has backup and is arresting him for whatever reason. Jake is there. Jake is looking surprised. So, okay, Jake, we see that you're not an accomplice. However, the rest of the preview is what really gets my blood boiling because, of course, the Minister Society is behind this. But for this part, y'all, I have to play the clip that one of the subscribers and followers over on Twitter sent me. Shout out to @MissLeela31. You are a real one. Thank you so much for sending me this immediately. Y'all, take a look at the extended trailer for next week.
Are you gonna keep it?
Next Wednesday.
Found out that there's been an inquiry to the SEC.
So about this stock, how'd you know to buy it?
It's a night of confrontations.
A lot can happen in 9 months. Be careful.
Will we finally know the truth?
This is not your baby.
According to the calendar, it really could be.
Or is a larger conspiracy
What are you doing here?
This should be interesting.
about to unfold?
Keep an eye on Andi for me.
You keep fire on this situation from me, and I got you.
Tyler Perry's Sistas.
Okay, so in this, we get to see before ZAC is arrested, Jake is talking about how there's been some inquiries to the SEC, and that's the a governing organization that really monitors the legitimacy and deals and all of the things that's happening. It's basically the regulatory agency over like stocks on Wall Street, right? So he lets ZAC know this, and I'm thinking after that they have a conversation, or he has a conversation with Gary, maybe after or before, not really sure, but Gary calls ZAC and he's asking all these questions, and I'm hoping that ZAC is keeping that same energy from the basketball court, because we already know what time Gary is on. He's ghetto, he's a terrorist, he's a menace, and we don't want no parts of it. At this point, why isn't he blocked? Because we already have our good homeboy Jake. We don't even need Gary no more. So go ahead and hit that block button on his behind, because moments after he gets off the phone with him, we see Hayden's old hating behind hobble into the into Gary's office, and he's like, keep an eye out on Andi for me. And Hayden's like, oh, well, keep the fire on this situation for me. Both of y'all are some losers. Y'all are big goofy ass clowns. Like, they need more men to whip their asses in this series. Like, I just can't. I am so disgusted. I am so disgusted looking at these two goofy ass black men. Like, but ZAC is going to jail. Gary 100% has something to do with it. Hayden 100% has something to do with it. Hopefully Jake is going to get him out. Jake, I need you to ride for ZAC, yo. Like, I need you to roll up on Gary. You might need to lay hands. Like, I know you half white, half black, but you better lean into that half black side and ride for your homie, because clearly this is who you work with. Like, no gumps allowed. No gumps allowed at all. Like, y'all, my blood is already boiling. I cannot wait till next week's episode, because I need to see what's actually going to happen. And the fact that Tyler Perry has now aligned the two worst men in the entire series, there is no redemption for Gary. Nobody else better come into my comment section, into my DMs, in any email, anywhere, asking me about giving Gary another chance. It ain't gonna happen. Never, ever. How long I'm gonna have beef with Gary? Forever. Okay, be clear, because this is goofy ghetto shit, and I can't. Like, I just can't. Now, before I finish up my little preview for next week's episode, we get a moment in this other exclusive trailer that Karen and Fatima are kind of talking, and Fatima says something that rubs me 100% the wrong way, and I think it's because I'm triggered. And I'm going to have a very honest moment with y'all. Say what you will, but one thing I try to definitely do is be transparent, honest, and I speak from a place of my perspective. Whether y'all agree with me or you don't agree with me, I'm just speaking from my perspective, from my lived experiences, and from my view on the world. Okay, when Fatima said 9 months is a long time, it bothered me, and it took me back to a place where my little ghetto behind is running around Baltimore with my homegirls, and I'm riding for people, and I love my girls, and we dealing with these dudes, and everybody on their own journeys, right? Like, we ain't perfect, they ain't perfect, but being in a situation where a girl get pregnant, a side chick gets pregnant, a side girl gets pregnant, whatever that looks like, right? Like, I'm not speaking to that specific part, and it's not a direct correlation to Karen and ZAC or whatever is going on with them. But one of the things that would come up when I was younger, and like, I've experienced this with really, really close friends, and their men cheated on them and they got somebody pregnant, and it was like, we would have conversations about wishing the person lose the baby, or like, God, why can't she just fall down the stairs, or why can't, and when Fatima said this, it's a long 9 months, that's what I like, that's where I went to. Now, I understand that some of y'all might not have gone there, but I don't like that. Like, I feel like Fatima is such a grounded, mature character, and I get that we're supposed to be getting seeds of her character flaws and her crazy, but I'm gonna wait until we get to the episode and I get to see the full context of the conversation. But I'm praying to God that Fatima is not on no energy of like, girl, you ain't even gonna be able to bring this baby to fruition, because I don't like that. That feels nasty. That feels icky to me. It just feels wet, honestly. And some of y'all might notice I really try to respond to everybody in the comment section, but the people who I have been going back and forth of whether, one, I am 100% ignoring you, but also on the fence of whether to delete your comments, are the people who are caping for miscarriage, caping for this girl to suffer one of the worst things a woman can actually suffer in this life. Like, I have much more perspective now on it, and being, you know, a woman in her 30s who is going to be pursuing motherhood, and people say that you can't get pregnant and all of these things that like just come with getting older and children and motherhood and all that kind of stuff. Like, I have a much clearer understanding now and a different perspective, and I just don't like it. Like, even though we're talking about fictitious characters, they're based off of like real life experiences. It's supposed to be speaking to the walks of life of Black women, and I just don't like how cavalier people are about the idea of a woman suffering a miscarriage as if it's like nothing, as if it's something that you should wish upon people. So if you're in the comment section wishing miscarriages upon Karen, whether you like her or not, I think that it's corny. Honestly, I think that it's corny as whack, and you wouldn't want nobody to do that to you or anybody that you love. So actually, in recording this video, I've decided moving forward, anybody who's wishing that kind of stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and delete the comments because I don't need that type of negativity in my life. But I wasn't sure, like I really wasn't sure what the energy was given from Fatima when she said the whole "it's a long 9 months." So I really can't wait for the episode just so we can see what's the further context, because we know that the trailers can be deceiving and it could be a lot. Like, I'm hoping that the Fatima character that I believe I know and love would not actually be wishing this, is an actual woman who's of her word, and like, yeah, you know, when ZAC told you, you said that this is life and we're gonna live it, and you're not on some whole petty get back stuff. I can't wait for Fatima and Karen to get to the place where they're actually cool and able to co-parent and like irrational. I really do feel like that's the energy that Karen is going to be on. I think that she's going to apologize for rolling up on Fatima and Andy's job, or at their job, and I think she's going to try to have a real open conversation, and also hopefully she's going to make mention of Andi so she can pull Andi out of the middle. She can say something to both Andi and Fatima at the same time, so that moving forward, if Andi does anything else that's like slide or behind her back, that's on her, because hopefully she's going to set the record straight of like, I'm not going to do this whole what's going on with ZAC and Fatima. I'm not going to do this whole back and forth and basically all of the drama that comes along with it. She's trying to reposition her energy. She's trying to get it together, and I'm totally here for that. I also did a video about how Karen and Fatima needed to talk. If y'all missed it, I'll link it so that you can go ahead and check that out as well. Now, the last thing I will say about this trailer is that we get a moment where Karen is like, this is not your baby, and then it cuts to Aaron, who's in a car, and he's like, well, I got a calendar, and the calendar says otherwise. So I love it. Honestly, I'm totally here for this energy of Aaron talking about, don't count me out yet, this definitely could be my baby, and he's gonna ride for her. I absolutely loved how Aaron stuck up for her in the last episode. I thought that ZAC was being so whack, and how he came at Aaron on the basketball court about Karen. It's like, you moved on, you have Fatima, this is a much better relationship for you, you are a much better person in this relationship, so why are you even peacocking and leaning into your ego like this? It's giving Gary energy, and you don't want that. So let's start there. But Aaron's just continuing to be solid, and I love it. All right, now it's y'all's turn. Let me know in the comment section what y'all think about next week's episode. What are your predictions, theories, and all of that? As long as it's not wishing a miscarriage on a Black woman. I'm gonna just go ahead and say that. Y'all can save that for y'all DMs, okay? Everything else, let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.